There are probably a million stories of kids moving from one town to another, so my struggle today is try and make that unique and different. When I was 10, I moved from my hometown of Hilton Head, South Carolina to Glenwood Springs, Colorado. I didn't know much about Colorado, beside for the fact that most people smoke pot out here. But for the most part, I was pretty nervous. South Carolina was the only place I knew. I didn't know if I could say goodbye to my friends, but turns out I had to. The last day I spent in South Carolina was with my 4 best friends. We decided to go play in the woods one last time, because that really was our favorite thing to do. We really didn't do anything in the woods. We kind of just walked around and explored the nature and what it had to offer. We were probably walking for 5-10 minutes, and what happened next was unbelievable. In the middle of the pathway where we were walking, there was a log. Didn't really think much about it. We each took turns walking over it, but when it was my turn, before I could step over the log, I felt something pierce my ankle. I immediately looked down and saw a snake slithering away. I was stunned. I didn't even think about being bit by a snake before this. I was in severe pain, and I looked down, and I knew exactly what kind of snake it was. A copperhead. They're extremely venomous and do cause severe pain. After I spent the night in the hospital, I was ready to move to a place where it was too cold for venomous snakes to live. I was finally ready. The next chapter of my life began in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. And to be honest, it was a negative one because everyone was kind of a dick to me. Late elementary school and middle school is hard enough, but it's extremely hard when everybody around you hates you and you don't know why. It turns out being from another place is reason enough for people to hate you in middle school. Being from the South, people often make assumptions about you. Saying stuff like, oh, he must be racist, or he's a hillbilly, or he's banging his cousin. Well, the truth is, I haven't experienced such bigotry until I went to Glenwood Springs Middle School. In PE, the teacher made soccer teams, based on race, though. It was the Latino kids versus the white kids. At the time, I didn't really think anything of it. I was just upset that my team always lost, because I was on the white team. However, looking back on that now, I can see just how much hatred there is in a small, loving mountain town. Well, moving on to Aspen. The next chapter of my life is probably my favorite one. It's called Aspen. Aspen is a place where I found home, and it's also my favorite chapter because of the people. It took a while for these characters to develop in this chapter, but for the most part, I found these people to be quite likable. Ah, Aspen, where the beer flows like wine. If you don't get that, you can leave the room because you're an ignorant prick, and you should probably watch Dumb and Dumber. But I love Aspen because of the people. I moved to Aspen in 7th grade, and at this point, I was ready to go back to South Carolina. I knew it better, and to be honest, I wasn't able to make a lot of friends out here in Colorado. But after 2 years, I realized I made more than friends. I made a new family. You can call it corny if you want, but that's seriously how I feel. After a few years in Aspen, I was finally able to see the beauty in the mountains. And the funny thing is, I didn't find the beauty by seeing the nature around me, but rather seeing who I was living with. I just found the people here to be so welcoming. And so many people were genuinely happy to meet me. I could just tell. I've had so many fun adventures here in Aspen. Looking around this classroom, I can see so many friends that I never want to lose. Well, the thing about these people is they might be douchebags. Look at Nick. But the thing is, I wouldn't trade my friendship with Nick for the world. These people made me see the beauty in this place, and to be honest, they did a good job, maybe too good of a job. I don't want to leave, but I realize I have to make a new chapter in my life now. It's crazy to think about the influence that other people have in your life. When I lived in South Carolina, I knew this family who had a garden sign in the front yard. It said, "Friends always welcome, but family have to call ahead." In my time living in Aspen, I've had a great epiphany, and it goes like this. You get two families in your life. The first one is something you're gifted with, your mom or your dad. And the second one, your second family, is something you have to create. And it's up to you how many people you want in your family. Thank you. And hotty toddy.